Cut the music. Now. The command rang out across the United Center stage with an authority that froze every member of Michael Jackson's crew. In the middle of his most iconic song, Billie Jean, the king of pop had just done something that had never happened before in his entire career. He had stopped performing mid-song because of what he saw in the VIP section. What happened next between Michael Jackson and Prince would become the most talked about moment in music history. But nobody in that Chicago arena was prepared for the explosion of talent and ego that was about to unfold. It was March the 7th, 1992, at the United Center in Chicago, and Michael Jackson was performing the opening night of his Dangerous World Tour's American leg. The anticipation had been building for months. This wasn't just any concert. This was Michael's grand return to the stage after 3 years away, and the 22,000 fans packed into every seat of Chicago's newest arena were witnessing what many considered the most technically ambitious show of his career. The Dangerous Tour was Michael's response to critics who claimed he was losing his edge. The elaborate stage production, the cutting-edge technology, the choreography that pushed the boundaries of what was humanly possible, everything about this tour was designed to prove that Michael Jackson was still the undisputed king of pop music. But what Michael didn't know was that his biggest rival was already in the building, and Prince hadn't come to Chicago to watch quietly from the audience. The feud between Michael Jackson and Prince had been the music industry's most explosive rivalry for over a decade by 1992. What had started as healthy competition between two incredibly gifted artists had evolved into something much more personal and intense. It was a rivalry that had everything: contrasting artistic styles, different approaches to fame, competing record sales, and most importantly, two massive egos that seemed incapable of coexisting peacefully in the same musical universe. Michael Jackson was the polished global superstar, the king of pop whose meticulously choreographed performances and universal appeal had made him the biggest entertainer on the planet. Prince was the mysterious, rebellious genius, the purple one whose raw sexuality, musical innovation, and refusal to play by industry rules had made him the critics' darling and the underground king. Both men knew they were fighting for the same crown, the title of the greatest musician of their generation. The Chicago concert was supposed to be Michael's triumphant declaration of dominance. The Dangerous album had already shattered sales records worldwide, and this tour was designed to cement his status as the most powerful force in popular music. But 3 days before the show, something had happened that sent shockwaves through the music industry and set the stage for what would become a legendary confrontation. During a radio interview with Chicago's WGCI, Prince had made a comment that was clearly designed to provoke his rival. "I hear Michael's bringing his little dance show to Chicago this week," Prince had said with his characteristic smirk audible even through the radio waves. "Maybe I should drop by and show the Windy City what real music sounds like when it's not packaged for mass consumption." The comment was vintage Prince, arrogant, provocative, and perfectly calculated to get under Michael's skin. But nobody in the music industry took it seriously. Prince was famous for making outrageous statements to the press, and everyone assumed this was just another example of his tendency to stir up controversy for publicity. What nobody knew was that Prince had been planning his Chicago appearance for weeks, and he was deadly serious about upstaging Michael on his own tour. Carlos Rivera, Prince's longtime security chief and one of the few people who truly understood the depth of Prince's competitive obsession, later revealed just how extensively Prince had prepared for this moment. Prince was consumed with Michael's success, Carlos recalled in a 2001 interview. He respected Michael's talent. Hell, he studied Michael's performances like they were masterpieces. But he couldn't stand the idea that the world saw Michael as the undisputed king, while Prince was just another talented musician. Prince had somehow obtained detailed inside information about Michael's concert logistics, including the United Center's layout, security protocols, backstage access routes, and even specific details about Michael's set list and stage design. He had studied every aspect of Michael's show, analyzing video footage from the tour's European dates and identifying the exact moment when he could make the most dramatic impact. Prince wasn't just planning to attend the concert, Carlos continued, his voice still filled with amazement years later. He was planning to challenge Michael to a musical duel in front of 22,000 people and a live television audience. He wanted to prove once and for all that he was the superior artist, and he was willing to risk everything to make his point. On the evening of March the 7th, Michael Jackson took the stage at the United Center, completely unaware that his biggest rival was already in the building. Prince had arrived at the arena 4 hours before showtime, using his extensive industry connections to gain VIP access without appearing on any official guest lists. His team had positioned him strategically in a premium box that was clearly visible from the stage, but partially concealed from most of the general audience. Prince was dressed in his signature style, a custom-made purple outfit that consisted of a fitted jacket with intricate beadwork and matching pants that caught the arena lights perfectly. To those who knew what to look for, he was instantly recognizable, but he had positioned himself carefully to remain hidden until he chose to reveal his presence. For the first 90 minutes of Michael's performance, Prince watched in complete silence, his eyes never leaving the stage. Those who noticed him in the VIP section later reported that Prince appeared intensely focused, like a chess master analyzing his opponent's strategy before making his crucial move. He wasn't just watching Michael perform, he was studying every gesture, every vocal inflection, every moment of connection with the crowd, looking for any sign of weakness or imperfection he could exploit. But Prince wasn't just observing. He was waiting for the perfect moment to make his presence known and issue his challenge to Michael in the most public and dramatic way possible. Michael Jackson was deep into his performance of Billie Jean, the song that had launched him into superstardom and remained the centerpiece of every concert he'd ever given. The United Center was electric with energy as 22,000 voices sang along to every word, and Michael was executing his famous moonwalk during the song's instrumental break when Prince decided to make his move. It started subtly. Prince stood up slowly in his VIP box and began what would become his signature gesture of dismissive appreciation, a slow, rhythmic clap that cut through the thunderous applause of the crowd like a blade. The slow clap was unmistakable to anyone who knew Prince's performing style. It was his way of saying, "That's impressive, but let me show you how it's really done." Michael Jackson, who had developed an almost supernatural awareness of his audience during his decades of performing, immediately sensed something unusual in the crowd's energy. The distinctive rhythm of Prince's slow clap was different from the wild applause surrounding it, and Michael's performer's instincts told him that something significant was happening in the VIP section. When Michael looked up toward the premium boxes and saw Prince standing there in his unmistakable purple outfit, slowly clapping with that characteristic expression of amused superiority on his face, the king of pop experienced a moment of pure shock that was visible to everyone in the arena. For several seconds, Michael continued dancing, his muscle memory carrying him through the familiar choreography, while his mind processed what he was seeing. Prince wasn't supposed to be here. Prince never attended other artists' concerts. Prince certainly never made public appearances at events where he wasn't the headlining performer. Yet there he was, standing in full view of the crowd, making it clear that he wasn't just a spectator, he was delivering a challenge. Then Michael Jackson did something that stunned everyone in the United Center, including his own band and crew. He stopped dancing mid-moonwalk, signaled sharply for the music to cut out completely, and stared directly up at Prince with an expression that mixed shock, anger, and genuine intrigue. The silence that fell over the United Center was immediate and absolute. 22,000 people stopped singing, stopped cheering, and stopped moving as they tried to understand what was happening. Michael Jackson stood center stage, looking up at Prince in the VIP section, while Prince continued his slow clap and maintained steady eye contact with his rival. The tension between them was so intense it seemed to vibrate in the air itself. Two of the most talented and competitive musicians in the world were facing off in front of a live audience, and neither was backing down. The silence stretched for nearly 45 seconds, an eternity in live performance time, as the crowd held its collective breath and witnessed the most famous rivalry in music history playing out in real time. Finally, Michael Jackson picked up his microphone and addressed Prince directly, his voice carrying clearly through the dead silent arena. "Ladies and gentlemen," Michael announced, his tone carefully controlled, but unmistakably charged with electricity. "We have a very special and unexpected guest in the audience tonight, the one and only Prince." The crowd erupted in confused applause and excited screaming. People were turning to each other, trying to figure out if this was part of the planned show or something completely spontaneous. The energy in the arena shifted dramatically as 22,000 people realized they might be witnessing something unprecedented. What happened next would be discussed and analyzed in music circles for decades to come. Michael Jackson, still looking directly at Prince with unwavering intensity, issued a public challenge that nobody saw coming. "Prince," Michael said into his microphone, his voice now carrying an edge of competitive fire that his fans rarely heard. "Since you took the trouble to come all the way to Chicago, why don't you come down here and show these people what you think real music sounds like?" The challenge was unmistakable and unprecedented. Michael Jackson was inviting Prince to join him on stage, not for a friendly collaboration, but for a head-to-head musical confrontation in front of 22,000 witnesses and television cameras that were broadcasting the concert live across the Midwest. Prince's response was immediate, theatrical, and perfectly in character. He smiled that famous, enigmatic smile, gave an elaborate bow to the crowd that was both respectful and slightly mocking, and began making his way down from the VIP section toward the stage. As he moved, his security team, who had been strategically positioned throughout the arena, began coordinating with the United Center's technical staff in a way that made it clear this moment hadn't been as spontaneous as it appeared. The atmosphere in the United Center was now electric beyond description. 22,000 people were about to witness something that had never happened before. A live musical battle between the two greatest artists of their generation, improvised in the middle of what was supposed to be Michael's solo concert. As Prince made his way to the stage, both men began preparing for what everyone in the arena knew would be an epic confrontation. Michael's crew scrambled to set up additional microphones and equipment, while Prince's own technical team, who had apparently been prepared for exactly this scenario, began coordinating the integration of Prince's preferred instruments into Michael's elaborate stage setup. Jennifer Walsh, one of the United Center's senior technical coordinators, later revealed just how prepared Prince had been for this moment. "Prince's people had been in contact with our technical crew for 3 days before the concert," she admitted in a 2003 interview. "They had brought his favorite guitar, his preferred microphone setup, and even a portable keyboard that could be quickly integrated into Michael's stage configuration. This wasn't a surprise visit. It was a carefully orchestrated challenge that had been planned down to the smallest detail." As Prince reached the stage and began setting up his equipment with the efficiency of someone who had rehearsed this moment many times, something unexpected began to happen. The competitive tension that had been building between them for over a decade started to transform into something different, a recognition of mutual respect and professional admiration that neither man had expected. Standing face to face for the first time in several years, Michael and Prince both seemed to realize simultaneously that their rivalry, while real and intense, was also somewhat artificial. They were both at the absolute peak of their careers, both had proven their worth countless times over, and both had achieved levels of success that made further competition almost meaningless. "You know what?" Prince said to Michael, speaking loudly enough for his microphone to pick up his words and broadcast them throughout the arena. "This is kind of ridiculous. We're both at the top of our game. Let's just make some music and give these people something they'll never forget." Michael's response revealed the grace and wisdom that made him not just a great performer, but a genuinely evolved human being. "You're absolutely right," Michael replied, his competitive edge softening into genuine warmth. "Let's show Chicago what happens when great artists decide to create something together instead of trying to destroy each other." What followed was one of the most extraordinary musical performances in live entertainment history. Instead of battling each other in a contest of egos, Michael Jackson and Prince decided to collaborate, creating an impromptu medley that showcased both of their talents without either trying to upstage the other. They started with a blues-influenced jam that allowed Prince to demonstrate his legendary guitar skills, while Michael provided vocals that complemented rather than competed with Prince's instrumental work. The interplay between them was immediate and natural, as if they had been rehearsing together for months rather than creating music spontaneously. Then they moved into a funk-based groove that highlighted both of their abilities as rhythm musicians and dancers. Michael's moonwalk combined with Prince's signature splits and spins created a visual spectacle that had the crowd screaming with excitement and approval. The performance was loose, spontaneous, and absolutely electric. 22,000 people were witnessing two musical geniuses discovering in real time that they could create something beautiful and powerful together, instead of just trying to outdo each other in an endless cycle of competitive one-upmanship. The emotional climax of their collaboration came when they performed an impromptu version of Purple Rain, with Michael providing backing vocals and dance accompaniment to Prince's lead vocals and guitar work. The sight of the King of Pop supporting the Purple One's signature song was so unexpected and so moving that many people in the audience found themselves crying. When the song ended, Michael and Prince embraced on stage, a genuine, heartfelt hug that lasted several seconds and signaled the end of their public rivalry and the beginning of a mutual respect that would define their relationship for the rest of their careers. "That hug changed everything," wrote David Chen, a music journalist who was covering the concert for Rolling Stone magazine. "It was the moment when two of the greatest artists of all time realized they were better as allies than as enemies, and that their combined talents could create something more powerful than either could achieve alone." The Michael Jackson-Prince collaboration at the United Center became legendary immediately. Within hours, bootleg audio recordings were circulating among music industry insiders and serious collectors. Within days, the performance was being discussed on every music television program and analyzed in every major music publication. But more importantly, the collaboration permanently changed the relationship between Michael and Prince. The public rivalry that had defined their careers and dominated music industry gossip for over a decade was replaced by a private friendship based on mutual respect and shared understanding of what it meant to be at the absolute top of the music world. They began communicating regularly, sharing advice about dealing with the pressures of fame, the challenges of maintaining artistic integrity in a commercial industry, and the loneliness that comes with being at a level of success that few people can truly understand. They even collaborated on several songs that were never officially released, but became legendary among music collectors and industry insiders. The United Center collaboration became a turning point not just for Michael and Prince individually, but for the entire music industry's understanding of how artist rivalries could be handled. It demonstrated that competition between great artists could be healthy and productive rather than destructive and personal, inspiring a generation of musicians to view their peers as potential collaborators rather than enemies to be defeated. When Prince died unexpectedly in 2016, one of the most treasured items found among his personal effects was a handwritten letter from Michael Jackson, written shortly after their United Center performance. In the letter, Michael thanked Prince for reminding him that music was fundamentally about connection and collaboration, not competition and conquest. In the years following their Chicago collaboration, both Michael and Prince spoke openly in interviews about how their famous rivalry had been somewhat exaggerated by the media and amplified by their own competitive natures. "Prince pushed me to be better," Michael said in a 1995 interview with Oprah Winfrey. "Knowing that he was out there creating incredible music made me want to reach deeper into myself and create even better music." That's what healthy competition should accomplish. It should elevate everyone involved. Prince, characteristically more direct in his assessment, told MTV in 1994, "Michael was the only person doing what I was doing at the level I was doing it. Having him as competition made both of us better artists. But working with him that night in Chicago taught me that we could make each other better in a completely different way." The story of Michael Jackson and Prince at the United Center serves as a powerful reminder that our greatest rivals can become our greatest allies when we choose collaboration over conflict. Both men were secure enough in their own extraordinary talents to realize that working together could create something more beautiful and meaningful than anything either could create alone. Their willingness to set aside their egos, their competitive instincts, and their carefully cultivated public personas led to a moment of musical magic that neither had planned, but both treasured for the rest of their lives. It proved that sometimes the most powerful performances aren't the ones where you prove you're better than everyone else. They're the ones where you prove that great art comes from great artists working together. Today, there's a commemorative plaque in the United Center that honors the night when two of music's greatest rivals became collaborators. It reads, "In celebration of the night when competition became collaboration, March 7th, 1992, Michael Jackson and Prince." Every major artist who performs at the United Center is told the story of Michael and Prince, and many have been inspired to reach out to their own rivals and competitors to explore the possibility of collaboration rather than conflict. The concert where Michael Jackson stopped his show because Prince appeared unannounced proved that sometimes the most beautiful music happens when great artists stop trying to outdo each other and start trying to create something amazing together. Sometimes the most memorable moments in entertainment history aren't the ones that were carefully planned and rehearsed. They're the ones that emerge spontaneously from genuine human connection and mutual respect between extraordinary talents. If this incredible story of rivalry transformed into collaboration moved you, make sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Share this video with someone who understands that competition can make us better without making us enemies. Have you ever turned a rival into an ally? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to ring that notification bell for more amazing true stories about the moments when music history was made through unexpected partnerships and the power of choosing cooperation over competition.